Welcome back to another episode of the Barking Mad podcast. This is Zoomies, where we're bringing you the latest headlines, developments, and trends from the pet world, pet food, pet care, and all of the above, directly to you, the things that you need to know. Welcome to Barking Mad, a podcast powered by BSM Partners.
We're your hosts, Dr. Stephanie Clark.
And I'm Jordan Tyler. So without further ado, I'm a cat. Stephanie's a dog. Let's get into it. I know that we have a couple updates from things that we've talked about in previous Zoomies episodes. So, Steph, take us away. What have we got today?
So, talking Wriggling Beagles at the AVMA conference last month, during a Merrick-sponsored award ceremony, activists crashed that event, and they're boycotting Merrick due to them acquiring 54 Wriggling Beagles back in April.
Where are the Beagles, Mark? Where are the Beagles? And I think it's hypocritical that Merck is sponsoring, co-hosting an event that is providing humane awards and welfare awards while purchasing Beagles from Ridgeland Farms.
Ridgeland Farms has been shut down, their veterinary license pulled because of over 300 counts of criminal animal abuse. What did Merck do? They went and purchased 54 of these Beagles. We don't know if these 54 Beagles have been chopped up into little pieces yet, or if they're still alive.
So at this event, some activists stood up claiming that Merrick was chopping these dogs to little pieces. That was the exact quote on social media. And what happened was when Ridgeland shut down, all the Beagles needed to be dispersed to different shelters and rescues. But before that happened, and while this was in the works, Merrick actually went in and purchased 54 Beagles. So that's 54 Beagles that could have been having belly rubs and being in a home. And instead, they are now at a new facility. Unfortunately, we don't know what kind of testing is going on or what kind of quality of life they have. But because these dogs had an opportunity for a better life or a home life, and they went back to work doing research, people are now boycotting Merrick. So with that being said, if you are doing any sort of presentations, and your company that you're representing that you work for is doing testing, just be prepared that it may be getting crashed. I think I've seen another one getting crashed. I can't remember the company off the top of my head, but my social and Beagles and advocates is all over the place.
It's such hot news. It keeps coming back around. The saga continues, and these people are going all in and being really, really loud and proud about their feelings around all of this. In less contentious news, this is just for funsies. We caught wind of a viral raccoon in the Seattle area that has been named Jimothy. It is alleged that Jimothy, the Seattle raccoon, has a congenital condition, short spine syndrome. They don't know for sure, but this is, what they're saying it could be, and it makes him look just very round, like rotund, maybe extra cute, if you will. We'll have to put a picture up there of him. But basically, Jimothy's the talk of the town. He is taking over Seattle. People have made art, memes. He has merch. There are murals of Jimothy around. People are declaring this summer Hot Jimothy Summer, which I subscribe to. Shout out to Jimothy. Put some respect on Jimothy's name. Jimothy maybe is a wild raccoon, and we could maybe talk about whether raccoons should or should not be pets. But there is some research out there. Scientists are starting to think that raccoons could be coming closer and closer to domestication, right? They live around us. They rely on our trash to survive. And so the symbiotic relationship is inching them closer to like actual domestication. But raccoon, they're not quite there yet. However, a man in Kansas last year really wants to have a pet raccoon. He went viral for lobbying his state legislators to allow him to have a raccoon as a pet. Here are some of the things he said in that statement. These are things that you do when you become an empty nester. You start playing with raccoons in the backyard. There's been some naysayers, but I would tell you that overwhelmingly, this is a very popular movement. besides updates and some feel-good news, there was something interesting that came across the wire from Pet Food Industry magazine. It's a big trade magazine for pet nutrition in the industries globally. And Steph, I was hoping you could kind of take us through this and we could kind of chat through some of the nuance around it. But essentially, it begs the question, we think of human medicine and doctors as being these specialists, but we also know that there are a lot of specialist doctors out there, right? So your primary physician may not be the utmost expert in nutrition. You might have to go to a dietitian to do that, just like you wouldn't go to your normal doctor. If you had a skin problem, you'd go to a dermatologist. So this article kind of starts to beg the question of, okay, veterinarians are trained to treat illness and diagnose and treat disease, but do they really have enough education and nutrition to be the foremost expert in the exam room on nutrition? So that's kind of in a nutshell, but Steph, take us through some of the nuance, what this means, and how we kind of see this playing out in the industry.
Yeah, so I was really actually surprised that this article was published. It's kind of like, it's always in the undertow, like kind of in the rumbles of like, can vets talk about nutrition to a level that a nutritionist, like who do you go to for nutrition advice? Even to, dare I say, vet formulated, all of these things start getting a little bit of rumbles. And so the headline of this was vets and MDs share lack of nutrition knowledge. So this is what the article was titled, not what I'm coming out with. But it comes back to, well, people say vets only get X amount of nutrition training. And here's the thing, like vets are needed. There is a special place for them. They, focus on physiology and diagnostics, and they're there to treat and prescribe and help animals along. And just like us going to our GP, sometimes we need to go to a dietitian. Sometimes we need to go to an endocrinologist, even if you have like a metabolic disorder. And so the same is true for our pets. I mean, we always want to talk about this humanization, but this is the one thing where like we don't want to follow our own suit. And that to me is really interesting. I will go see an endocrinologist if I have a metabolic disease. I'm going to see my GP, but then they're going to recommend me to go see someone else. Or if I need to go on and lose some weight, or I need to tone up, or I need, I'm going to go to a dietitian. I'm going to go to a personal trainer. We go and do this stuff. But when it comes to our pets, for whatever reason, we just don't. Like the buck stops there at the veterinary office. And so actually on social, which I don't know if I like the person I have now started following social media trends. Who am I, right? But there was this store owner who actually just like kind of hopped onto this too. And they said that you don't need any degree to be a pet nutritionist, that we as humans feed ourselves just fine and we don't have nutrition degrees. And yes, while we all eat, we also have a selection of things that we can eat, but also how many of us are taking supplements and vitamins? How many of us come back with blood work that's deficient? How many people are on this GLP-1 and these peptide trends? So like, yes, we do feed ourselves, but clearly with this movement of peptides and supplements, we're not doing a great job. And we also seek advice from people who have degrees to better this. So, it's not bad that your vet doesn't have a ton of nutrition training. That's fine. Go seek a nutritionist. That's fine that you want to buy something that's vet formulated, but what about nutritionists validated? So maybe we can start moving this trend, or maybe there's an opportunity for the vet community to grow and do some more nutrition training.
Yeah, I think that's the message is for all of we do this for ourselves, so we should do it for our pets. For all of the humanization and the anthropomorphization that we do with our pets, this one doesn't translate quite as cleanly. And so we just want to be extra careful. And I want to kind of reiterate, this goes both ways. vets feel like they don't have adequate training to discuss nutrition in the exam room. According to this recent study, they said that one of the most common barriers is inadequate nutrition resources to share with clients. So it's like, yes, there are things like pet owners don't love hearing that their pet is, maybe overweight or underweight, or that they might not be doing the right thing for their pet. It's an uncomfortable conversation that nobody wants to have, and that's absolutely a barrier as well. But if we're able to arm veterinarians with more science-backed information about nutrition, then maybe that conversation can have more legs and can walk a little further, even maybe outside the exam room and maybe survive a little bit in the real world. So, yeah, I think it's just something to consider and something to remember as we see all of the vet formulated monikers on all these glossy pet food bags. There are absolutely veterinarians out there that can formulate a good pet food, but it is not a requirement of a veterinarian to truly understand nutrition for pets. Anyway, off the soapbox onto recall box, which is also kind of a soapbox.
It's the womp box.
We only have one this month that happened in July. There was a couple updates of like previous recalls, but those are starting to fizzle out. Some of the ones that we saw earlier in the spring. The one that came across in July is interesting though, in that it involves a Pedigree dog food product by Mars Pet Care that was recalled due to potential fraudulent distribution. So what happened was recalled products did not meet Mars and Pedigree stringent safety and quality standards. There was a potential presence of sharp metal and plastic foreign material in the cans. Yikes, we hate that. Super glad they caught that in their quality and safety testing. And as part of the robust quality control processes, these two lots were sent to a third-party vendor for destruction. This is a statement from Mars Pet Care. However, Mars later discovered that the product appears to have been fraudulently diverted and sold into marketplaces in the US. So Mars gets a pass on this one, right? They did the thing that they were supposed to do. They tested for safety and quality. They found something off spec. They found something that could potentially be dangerous to pets. And they said, we can't sell this. We have to go destroy it. And once it was out of Mars' hand, somebody picked it up and tried to put it back on the market. So we'll put that link in the show notes for today, just in case you are a Pedigree consumer and you're worried that you might have one of these sharp metal and plastic foreign material lots. And yeah, Mars mentioned it's working with authorities to determine how those products entered the marketplace, but they've received no reports of pets getting sick or injured or anything like that in relation to these products. So all good. Just an interesting development that I don't see stuff like this come through as often. It's usually like an ingredient is off spec or there's like a toxic level of some nutrient or yada yada.
Yeah, and that's usually because a lot of the bags go through screens, right? They go through metal detectors, bags, I'm saying like the finished product, go through metal detectors, go through X-ray to look and make sure that there's nothing that's supposed to be in there. But if you are worried, like you had mentioned, we'll have the link. Then there is lot codes. And so just look at your bag, make sure you find the lot code. If unfortunately you do have one of those bags with those lot codes that have been identified, take it back to where you purchased it and let them know. Because it needs to be destroyed. It needs to be done. It needs to be getting off the market.
So that's our one recall. But
for every one recall, you get 2 class actions.
Exactly. That's the thing. Exactly the joke I was trying to make. So yeah, what's up with these class actions that keep coming through?
Dare I say another one or 2. So as of July 2026, we are now up to 10 double digits, guys, class action lawsuits. Are they needed? Are they not needed? You be the determining factor of that. But what is happening? So YoPup frozen yogurt is in a class action for quote unquote false marketing since it does not contain a lactic acid containing bacteria. And you may think, great, I don't want my products to contain bacteria. However, for the definition of yogurt to be used, a lactic acid bacteria must be present. That's how we make yogurt. I know it's gross, but we all love it. It's delicious and all its bacteria glory. So, because this product does not contain bacteria, this lactic acid containing bacteria, it can technically not be called yogurt. So, right now, class action for false marketing. The other one, which you may kind of ring a bell, this is kind of going around right now. It happened with another class action, but Target is facing a proposed class action lawsuit for falsely claiming no artificial preservatives, and it actually has citric acid and mixed tocopherols, vitamin E, which could potentially be synthetic. The only way of determining if these are synthetic or natural is through the supplier specification. It will kind of list it out. But again, if this goes through, just like the one previous to this one, it's going to blow open like natural preservatives, artificial preservatives, like wide open. Right now, if we can't even use vitamin E to preserve our food because it's considered artificial, so we're either going to have shorter shelf lives and shorter use dates, or we're just going to claim everything artificial that has vitamin E's in it. So
yeah, this one is interesting because, like you said, citric acid and vitamin E, they can be natural, they can be synthetic, and the only way to tell the difference is to understand how they were sourced. But for somebody to file a class action lawsuit without having that information, without having the supplier specifications, just assuming that something like citric acid and that mixed tocopherols are synthetic, I think it comes back to the nomenclature, and which comes back to like nutrients are chemicals. They have chemical names, and there was, a big movement for clean label in pet food and all food, really, and it definitely trickled down into pet, that if we can't pronounce or recognize the ingredient that's on the back of the label, then it must be bad. It must be a noxious chemical or something synthetic that, is not as good as something that is natural. However, the natural alternative to synthetic citric acid is natural citric acid. It's just like it makes sense. So I do totally agree with you, Steph. I think it's less of an actual issue. It's more of a semantic issue. And it's just that people don't understand that you can't look at an ingredient label and just assume, right? You don't know where it was sourced. And we've talked about this before. Sourcing, you don't know the quality, you don't know the concentration, all of it.
Well, I think it's a slippery slope, and the fact that if these are now no-nos, synthetic or natural otherwise, are you okay with shorter shelf lives, with products going bad faster? And that it doesn't mean that these are going to last forever, right? Like mixed tocopherols isn't going to extend it, kind of like 3 years, but are you okay opening a bag and using those treats within 2 weeks, maybe, or depending on where you're living, depending on how hot and humid it is, maybe only a few days, as opposed to maybe a month or more. So while we may be wanting to sit on our, soapbox and say, no false marketing, no preservatives, are we okay with that? Do we really know what we're asking for?
Yeah. It's a very much a careful what you ask for type of situation. And I think it also comes down to we just assume that natural means better, safer, healthier, greener, whatever, insert superlative here. And that's just not the case. It's just a distinction that describes the ingredient. Just like synthetic is a way to describe an ingredient or a compound. But there is so much more devil in the detail when it comes to how that actually impacts our health, impacts the way that we experience products, our convenience, how long they last, before they spoil. Do we feel like we're wasting money? There's just so many factors. And so when we boil it down to something like this, it's like, ooh, there's actually a lot to unpack here. And yeah.
Yeah, I think this one is dangerous, depending on if it goes through, what can actually happen, and then the repercussion for an entire industry.
As we close out today, I wanted to have a little bit of fun. We're gearing up to go to SuperZoo here in just a couple of weeks. We're taking the Barking Mad podcast back to SuperZoo. We did this last year, but we set up a soundproof booth in the BSM Partners exhibit on the SuperZoo show floor, and we literally were just in there the whole time. It was me and Stephanie. We were like tapping on the glass, like, help us, and nobody was helping us. We were just stuck in there.
They did not
Just
feed the
kidding.
animals that day.
Just kidding. It was actually really fun, and we talked to a lot of really interesting people and got loads of content. We're doing it all again. So, in celebration of us getting ready for Super Zoo, I wanted to do some fun Vegas odds, right? It's in Las Vegas. There's a casino theme over the entire event. And did you guys know that Super Zoo used to be a grooming show? So it started out as a grooming show, and now it's like a whole pet industry show. But because it started out as a grooming show, there's still a huge grooming element, and there are so many dogs that are just they look like not dogs. There are some that look like
Yep.
giraffes. They're all dyed. Their haircut is all wacko. Sometimes I feel bad for the animal. Sometimes I'm jealous. It really just kind of depends. But anyway, I wanted to have some fun. Like, what do we think we're going to see at the show? What do you think the odds are that like one claim is going to be more popular than the other? So I was just going to go through the list. I told Jacob to join us because you do some like sports betting, right?
Oh yeah.
Are you a betting man?
He's a betting man.
I try to be a betting man. I'm not very good at it, but Lady Luck sometimes is on my side.
Let's get to it.
So we have an insider here with us that can maybe steer us in the right direction. But let's start out with an over-under. So I have a few options. Over-under meaning, do you think there will be more or less than 30 pets in strollers?
Jacob has to go first because he's never been to Super Zoo. So Jacob will go and then I will go. And then or whatever.
Just based on what I've seen in the wild and what this could be, I'm going to go over 30 strollers easy. Because small dogs are easy to take around in places like that and to keep them contained in a stroller. Can we also make this like strollers / wagons / backpacks / totes, or is it only strollers?
Yeah, no, I'll accept any vessel.
Okay.
You're going to see most in strollers.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple in wagons and maybe even a couple in wheelchairs.
Okay. I'm going to go over 30. Over 30.
Okay.
I am going over 30 as well.
Okay. I'm with you guys on that one. That one's kind of a softball. Here's one that I didn't write down, but I remember seeing at previous shows, there was a giant bunny rabbit, driving a remote control car around the show floor. It was like its owner was like following it with a remote. It was like one of those like Barbie Jeeps, that you get your toddler. Oh, I love those things. Anyway, I'm going to guess that there's going to be at least 2 of those. And I don't know if it's going to be a bunny. It could be a dog. I'm agnostic on the species, but I do think there's going to be at least 2 animals driving around the show floor.
I would take that. I would take 2. I don't know if I would go more than 2 because that just seems really elaborate. But
I would say less than 5. Yeah.
Less than 5, in between that 2 and 5 range.
More than 1.
Yeah, I'd go 2 and under. 2 and under.
All right, and then this one's
never seen that.
Oh, you're missing out. They do it at Global too.
Yeah, we need to see this. Pixar didn't happen. No, just kidding.
Oh, don't worry. We'll follow up with documentation on all of this. This last over-under is for the people in the room. More or less over-under 10,000 steps on the first day.
Over. Definitely over 10,000 steps.
I would say over unless you're doing podcasting.
Yeah, this was a trick question.
Yeah, okay.
So
That just means I'm
last
gonna
year
walk
was
in
the
place
first
more.
year I didn't hit 10,000 steps every day when I was at SuperZoo because I sat all day, which is great.
Mhm.
My feet didn't hurt, but other areas hurt.
Specifically my brain.
Yeah, my brain was mush.
If we're standing in one spot for too long, we'll just start marching in place to count
Well.
our steps.
I'll accept that.
Every hour you're gonna walk out and get your 250.
250 loops around the podcast booth. We're just
There you
going to
go.
walk around.
Okay, let's move on to some head-to-head bets. I wanted to get particularly Stephanie's thoughts around some of the claims that we're thinking that we're going to see most, and I wanted to kind of pit a few claims against each other. So let's do gut health and longevity. Which do you think we're going to see more of at SuperZoo?
I think we're going to see more longevity. That seems to be a hot word. I don't really know what that means. So if that claim comes out, I'm going to say, show me your research. Show me your data.
Yeah. But what does it mean?
Yeah. Does it mean 6 months? Does it mean a day? Does it mean 2 years? Does it mean 20 years?
I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, with it needs to be more specific. Show me the data. But also, I do think gut health has been in the conversation already for several years. And obviously, it's still really important. But I think longevity is primed to kind of overtake it as a claim.
It's kind of like vitality. What does that really mean?
Yeah. And hey, along the lines of claims that really don't mean anything, here's the next one. Human grade or clean label?
Definitely human grade.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like now that's like, I hate this word, table stakes. Like it is the baseline bar. And for whatever reason, which I'm like, the grocery stores, it's just going to get more expensive. Like we're just competing with ourselves.
Literally, we are the butt of our own joke with human grade. And you can check out our most recent episode, Sustainability. It's about sustainability, but it's about why sustainability is so hard. It's not, why we should do it. It's really a conversation about why it feels so difficult and ways that we can feel better about it as consumers, right? We're doing our best. We also talked about natural. Some good segues between here and that episode. Okay, last one for let's go with a format. Do you think we'll see more freeze-dried or fresh?
Fresh.
Yeah. And I would say the shelf-stable fresh
That well. No, just
can
kidding.
fit into the fresh category. Like,
I think honestly, this fresh movement, we're doing the fresh movement, is hopefully going to force a regulatory definition of fresh.
Yeah. Agree.
Because like you had said, there's fresh frozen, there's fresh shelf-stable, there's I'm feeling fresh today. Like, what does this mean? I took a shower this month. I'm extra fresh. Like, I don't know, right? Like, what does it mean, America?
What do you think the first non-dog species we will see at the show will be? Do you think it will be a cat, a bird, a reptile, a ferret, or a rabbit? Or some kind of like hamster guinea pig situation?
I go reptile.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like the easy answer here is cat. Like, of course, cat. But a lot of people walk around with birds.
Birds or lizards.
There are a lot of booths for reptiles, like just housing reptiles. So like you will definitely see some reptiles. But there are also some booths that have cats there. But then like walking around, people just bring their birds. And I'm like, aren't you afraid that they're going to fly away? But I clearly don't understand birds as pets. So
some people
are
get those
birds real?
little leashes that attach to their legs, And then it's
Oh.
So they like try to fly away and then you're like, nope, that's cruel.
or sadly, some of those birds may have clipped wings and they just can't really fly away. They're like chickens.
That's true. Yeah. People walk around with them like on their shoulder though, all day. It's crazy.
I'm gonna go with a rabbit only because this giant remote control driving car rabbit seems to be following me around. Wild parlays where 2+ things have to happen for you to win this bet. I learned I had to look up what a parlay was because I'm an idiot when it comes to gambling. Any takers for a pet wearing sunglasses and riding in a stroller at the same time?
That seems like easy money right there.
I agree. I'm taking that all day.
Wait, we have to pick one of the three?
No, but do you think that both will happen? So like that there will be a pet wearing sunglasses while they're riding in a stroller.
A combination.
For sure. How else do you ride a stroller?
And that's the kind of follow-up question that we need.
How else do you ride a stroller inside with your sunglasses on?
Yeah. Because how else are you going to look cool?
The lights are too bright.
They are very bright.
Okay. Any takers for a pet and a pet owner with matching outfits that include matching shoes and or headwear? So we're not just talking clothing here, we're talking head to toe.
Outfit I would have been on board for, but there's too many variables for shoes and headwear. I'd have to back off.
Yeah, me too. I think they will probably try to put on headwear and or shoes. And I've seen dogs at the show with shoes on. They walk around like ponies. It's just like, there's something on my foot. So I'm sure the intention is to do a full get up, but like, will that last? I don't think so.
Yeah. I agree. I think that one's a little bit of a long show, but who knows? Last one we have is my personal favorite. I've dubbed it Petting the Rainbow. It's administering scritches to a dog, displaying every color of the rainbow in its fur. And this comes back to SUPERZOO used to be a grooming show, so there's going to be a ton of dogs with dyed fur. I'm taking this all day. There is 100% chance I'm going to pet every dog that I see. And there's also 100% chance that one of those dogs is painted like a rainbow. So count me in for that.
Yeah, I would also double down on we're going to see a zebra, and we're going to see a lion, and we're going to see a cheetah.
Yeah. I've seen giraffes in recent years as well.
I have too. Yes. And I do want to double down. We're going to see a Marvel character or a DC character. We will see a superhero.
All right. So you heard it here first. Place your bets now. We'll be back after SUPERZOO to see how we did, to settle the score, and to see who won. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to the Barking Mad podcast. If you'd like to learn more about BSM Partners, please visit us at www.bsmpartners.net. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite leading podcast platform. And if you found today's episode useful, share it with a friend. And we'd like to thank the very loyal good boys and girls on our podcast team: Jacob Parker, Katie Wolf, Mealy Bowden-Lewis, Anna Guilfoyle, and Adamiette Thomas. A special shout out to David Perez for the original music. See you next time.